Hi, thank you very much for hosting me here. I'm Ed Mitchard. I'm one of the two co-founders of Space Intelligence. We're a satellite data analysis company producing maps for nature-based solutions and sustainable finance, based in Edinburgh, founded in 2018, and we've got 32 employees at the moment. So why did I get into this? I may be about to skip about 10 slides. Sorry, my clicker isn't working. I can't make it go next. Thank you. So deforestation is a global crisis that we're totally failing to fix, fundamentally. I remember in my teenage years reading that about 1.5% of tropical forests were being deforested every year. I could do maths at that age and worked out that meant that we were losing about 10% of tropical forests every 7 years. And over my lifetime, if that carried on at the same absolute rate, tropical forests would disappear. I thought it was horrific we weren't doing more about that. And sadly, if anything, deforestation is faster now than it was when I was in my teens. In fact, I suspect 2022 will have the largest area of tropical forest loss ever. This is a tragedy, and current policy, our current policy and national policies that keep saying our sustainable development goals haven't done anything to stop this issue. To kind of prove this, this is a map I've made of global deforestation. This is the proportion of 3 by 3 kilometer boxes of the world where forest has been lost, what proportion of forest has been lost from 2000 to 2020. And you clearly don't need any country boundaries or continental boundaries to see all the world continents lit up, and you see these big belts of loss, particularly around tropical forests and northern forests. So there are many different types of solutions that are needed, and the one I decided to focus on was using satellite data to improve the mapping of forest deforestation, but also the quality of forests, their biodiversity and their carbon storage, and the stage before deforestation, which is forest degradation, where some trees are taken out, but the total forest isn't cleared. Because if you can see where degradation is happening, you can often stop it before deforestation happens. I did this in an academic background for about 15 years. I've measured about 12,000 trees by hand in, I think, 12 different tropical countries. And I've published about 80 scientific papers about better ways of mapping forests. But that wasn't making much difference, which is why I founded the company in 2018. And we produced products to look at two different areas, really. We work on nature-based solutions. These are where carbon credits, carbon offsets are bought in order to stop the loss of, stop this deforestation in forests and peatland areas, and to a lesser extent, to restore areas that have already been lost. As previous speakers have said, this is a rapidly growing market. We reckon the total addressable market purely for monitoring nature-based solutions projects was about 320 million in 2021 and could be 40 billion by 2040, assuming growth rates meet the pledges that companies have put in place, and about 15% of project budgets are spent on monitoring. So this is a big growth area for our company, and we believe we provide the highest quality maps to help power the nature-based solutions market. But that's not going to solve the problem. There is no way that all of the tropics is going to be put into nature-based solutions projects because there are limitations in the way carbon offsets can work. They have to prove an additional protection for an area that you just can't do everywhere. We're going to have too many people demanding carbon offsets compared to real projects that will exist. So I'm very hopeful about sustainable finance. This is already a much bigger market. In theory, this was 5 billion in 2021, was put into sustainable bonds and green finance. A lot of this is sustainability-linked debt. For example, government of Uruguay recently entered into a green bond where the coupon on that bond, the interest rate they pay, varies depending on how well they do at stopping deforestation or restoring their native forest. There's going to be a lot more of these projects, and I have real hope that they provide finance to keep current forests standing. There's also data related to ESG, supply chains and compliance, recent EU law on avoiding deforestation in supply chains of many products that I think will help. But lots of these financial institutions are willing to accept kind of PDF reports from companies saying, ticking a box saying we have zero deforestation in our supply chain. I want to show those companies that they should be using satellite data from independent providers to put the trust into those markets. So who are we? We are 32 people currently. We had 2 new starts on Monday, so I think I've got that right. We're based in Edinburgh. We have 8 PhDs, graduates who are experts in using satellite data to map forests. Many of those I used to supervise in my role as a professor at the University of Edinburgh, so there's a close link there. And most of the rest of the team are data scientists and computer engineers who are building our ability to map these products at very large scale using terabytes of satellite data. We're a profitable company. We already provide data to the countries in green across this map, so mostly in the tropics, but also a bit outside the tropics in those other areas of deforestation, including at home, where we've mapped all of the UK and Scotland and provide those data to the governments. Our team have also got great experience of measuring trees and doing conservation projects across other countries. Those are the ones in yellow on this map. We can't talk about all our clients because some of them want to keep their investments in nature-based solutions a bit secret, but these are clients we can talk about, which include major purchasers of carbon offsets, including those oil majors and major NGOs. So we have 2 main products. One is Carbon Mapper, which gives the value of carbon, the amount of carbon stored in every 20 by 20 meter pixel across an area. Forest carbon is very variable in space. So you might have 2 hectares of tropical forests next door to each other. One might have 100 tons of carbon and one might have 350. And using kind of conventional mapping, you would just see those both as tropical forest and maybe give them the same value. But in fact, they've got quite different amounts of carbon. So we take advantage of the loads of free and open satellite data sets that there are now. There are approximately 3,000 Earth observation satellites in orbit, and that's increasing every year. We think this data has historically been greatly underused by the world, essentially. Loads of this data just goes into archives and is never opened and used. This is because it's difficult to combine lots of different types of satellite data. We've developed a good way of doing this over the last few years. So we use our field data sets with LiDAR data from planes and from space, from optical satellite data and radar satellite data to make maps of forest carbon and track them through time so that we can see the growth in forests as well as forest degradation. This product has been used by real projects. For example, this is an avoided degradation project in Peru, certified under the VCS standard, that's using our Carbon Mapper product to generate its carbon offsets. We also produce a product called Habitat Mapper, which is a land cover mapping product, which we do over very large scales to map deforestation, regrowth, other changes. We're doing this across whole countries to set baselines for avoided deforestation projects. But I think these products can be applied to sustainable finance, and I'm hoping some people in the room are in this field because we feel that these maps can help deal with KPIs for sustainability-linked bonds. We did a recent literature review and found that 65% of KPIs that we could find that were reported related to carbon emissions. We have this Carbon Mapper product, and we found 14 out of 25 KPIs related to biodiversity loss. Mapping biodiversity is really difficult. There's been loads of interesting talks today already about ways of mapping biodiversity. But biodiversity loss, we can already map. We can map the carbon storage and the habitat change, and we can see biodiversity loss directly. We also think that this zero deforestation, again, this is something we can already map, and we're keen to start doing that at the next scale. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Space Intelligence. We have 1 more minute, according to my schedule. I just have a question about illegal deforestation.
Yes.
Do you have capacity to track that, and do you for your customers? Or for governments, perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, most of our projects are about stopping deforestation. So by definition, you're monitoring it within a project site and then outside it and comparing those 2 rates, which generates the carbon offsets. Whether or not it's illegal is not something we can see from a satellite. You need data from the ground or from what's allowed to do to ascertain that. But yes, that's definitely something we can map.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Ed, from Space Intelligence.
Thank you.